Hi, I'm Katie Johnson. In this video, I'm going to show you 5 different cards made with a Daisy Garden background stamp. And I'm just going to talk about background stamps in general and get your mind thinking of different ways to use background stamps. I'm filming this right now in November of 22 in support of a sale that Stampin'Up has going on, but you may be watching this later, so you'll be watching for ideas for using background stamps. So this is the current catalog. And right now the sale is for product from this particular catalog. It is 15% off of stamps. I do this to my catalog just because it's easier for me to quickly flip to things. So I just went to the index in the back. I love the index. It's so useful for finding things. Daisy Garden is on page 117. So let's just flip over and take a look at this. Now if you don't have the Stampin'Up catalog, well, definitely let me know. I'd be happy to help you get the catalog. But a couple of things to notice about how they show things on the page. Most of the stamps that you're going to see are life size. So the size you see in the book, that's the size of the stamp. For the background stamps, that would take up too much space on the page, so they make them smaller, and then in a little circle they show you a close-up of the actual size of the stamp. And here's the Daisy Garden. So what you can see is that it's a great big stamp that's going to fill up most of the page. In fact, here is the stamp in its case. Most of the background stamps are going to be red rubber versus photopolymer. And I'll tell you, a lot of times I'll just leave them in the case, because when you stamp, here's a trick. So most of the time when I stamp with a background stamp, I'm actually going to just leave it in the case. This is a cling set, which means when you take off the label and mount the label on the stamp, it's going to be sticky, so it would stick to a block. And yes, we do sell a large size block for it. But most of the time, I'm just going to leave it in the case, because with a background stamp, rather than inking it and then bringing your stamp down to the paper, you get a whole lot better coverage if you ink the stamp and then bring your paper down to the stamp. So then I will just rub, and this way I can get a visual on the surface of the stamp, and I can use my fingers and make sure that I've really transferred all that ink from the stamp to my paper. The other way to do it would be to put this in your Stamparatus, and that way if you missed any spot, you could always come back and restamp if you use your Stamparatus. But you can see that with this particular one, the Daisy Garden stamp, and with every background stamp, it's huge. So the first thing you tend to think of is that when you're going to stamp with it, that you're just going to cover the paper. So here is a card, and by the way, most of the ones in this deck, I made some of them, and I didn't make all of them. So this one, there it is. The whole thing is stamped. And now you're looking at it wondering how to get some color in. Well, the person who made this stamp came in with their blends, probably with a sponge dauber, because there's darker color here and lighter color around, and just blended some color in. How pretty is that? It looks almost watercolory. And then this person added some extra interest by embossing on the white piece, and then added a few of our little gems in here to color coordinate. Oh, another special thing. I just noticed it. Look at the centers of those flowers. They went over the centers of the flowers with the Wink of Stella pen. This is just such a great way to add a little bit of extra sparkle. I love that look when somebody gets a card, looks at it, smiles, and then looks again and goes, ooh, I missed seeing that. Okay, so here is another one that spotlight's just part of it. This is actually called a strip spotlight. So to do this, you would stamp it on the white paper, and then you would lay Post-it notes or just tack some copy paper or something down to cover up the outsides, and then sponge in the middle between that mask that you laid on top. Isn't this a nice way to do a sentiment? This is made with a double oval punch, which, by the way, I use mine all the time. You can see how this smaller oval fits nicely in the larger oval. What a great way to add a sentiment to a project. And by the way, punches are 10% off with this sale. Okay, let's take a look at another one. I have 5 cards here to show you. Here's another one to spotlight and add some color. This is actually called spotlighting. So the person who made this one stamped the whole thing and then stamped it again, or at least this part of it, on scrap paper, punched it out, colored it in, and then laid it right on top of the image. Here is another one. Now, the thing to know with a background stamp is you don't have to use the whole thing. So the person who made this card just stamped this part of it, the part that you can see here. They just moved the block over and stamped on the left-hand side. This is a very classic layout for a card. In other words, you've got a card front, and then you put an interest strip down the left, and then put your focal point and your sentiment off to the right. So this time, instead of putting a strip of designer paper on the left, they just simply stamped part of that background stamp on the left. Very sweet, very pretty, and there you go. There's some more of that Wink of Stella right in the center of the flowers. A little bit of glimmer and bling. And then for this last one, again, to use just part of the stamp, you can stamp on a piece of a separate piece of paper and then cut out just the part of it that you want to use. So this is a beautiful card, and then the coloring on this, isn't this nice? So when you have a dark colored cardstock like that, you can come back in with our colored pencils, or with a white, use your blender pen and pick up some white ink from the white ink pad and color with that. So pretty. And then again, there's some Wink of Stella in the center here. This one, I will tell you, was made by one of the people on my team, which, by the way, is one of the places where I get a lot of my cards. There's a lot of value to associating with other people who are passionate crafters. If you're one of my customers already, then I hope that you're already in our Incredible Crafters Facebook group where we share things. And for the people who buy the starter kit, I have a separate Facebook group for those people to share their ideas as well. And by the way, I don't know how long your list is. I mean, this is an awesome deal. You're going to get 10% off of every punch during the sale. You're going to get 15% off of stamps. You're actually going to get 20% off of embossing folders. Oh, this one's got embossing on it. Can you see the background on here? I hope that shows through. You can see them. So anyway, 10% or 20% on embossing folders, 20% on a lot of the designer papers, 20% on the dies. And if your eyes are getting big and your list is getting long, think about buying that starter kit. The starter kit truly is the best way to invest in your Stampin' Up! Product. That starter kit is always a good deal. When you are a demonstrator, I don't know if I want to say demonstrator, when you buy the starter kit and you become part of the company, you get a 20% discount. When you purchase when you join, first time joining, you're going to get that 20% right away. You pay $99, you get to choose $125 for it. And with this sale, wow, how much stuff could you get? Paying $99, choosing $125, but get to choose even more than that because this stuff is on sale. Guys, there is no commitment, and like I say, there's a lot of benefits to becoming part of a group, of an active group of passionate other paper crafters, and I support my team. So if you have any questions, definitely email me, we can talk, but I'll put links to all of this stuff in the, well, maybe I'll put some links like right up there where you can see my, that space, watching my fingers to see how that goes, that space underneath the thing behind me in the background, or maybe I'll find a way to put it off on the side. But anyway, I'll give you some links for shopping. I'll give you a link to the catalog if you don't have a paper copy. I'll give you a link to join if you're interested. And if you, I mean, this is in the middle of a series. I'm doing a whole bunch of these. I got the next one ready to go. So if you want to make sure you're notified when I post future videos, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure that you follow my page and click that little bell for notifications. If you're watching on Facebook, make sure that you follow my page and click on notifications. Hey, we'll catch you next time. I hope you get some incredible ideas for thinking a little bit differently about how to use your background stamps. I'm Katie Johnson. We'll talk with you later. Bye.